To lead in a world that never stops evolving, you need insights from those who are driving change. Welcome to Breakthrough Innovations, where we bring together the top leaders and innovators who are reshaping their industries. I'm JL Heather, the Principal Executive Coach at Center, and in each episode I sit down with game-changing executives who share the strategies, insights, and challenges that fuel their success. In the next 20 minutes, you'll gain practical takeaways to drive your own breakthroughs. So if you're ready to stay ahead, join us here on Breakthrough Innovations.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Breakthrough Innovation. With us today is Sanjit Singh, the Chief Technology Officer for Julia, a venture scout and a machine learning engineer. Sanjit's career began with hackathons at Mercer County Community College, where he discovered a passion for using gaming to solve real-world challenges. Since then, he's led impactful projects, including developing AR hub systems for NASA, creating VR tools for neurological rehabilitation, and co-founding Julia, a startup revolutionizing trauma care with AR and robotics. As the first undergraduate selected for the prestigious MIT Catalyst Fellowship, Sanjit worked with leading experts to address unmet medical needs, exemplifying his dedication to innovation. Whether it's advancing healthcare, education, or defense applications, Sanjit's mission is to harness technology to improve lives and solve complex challenges. Sanjit, you've got a fantastic background. I love reading about all the things that you've done at NASA, you name it. Thank you for being here. I'm super excited to have you on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you, JL, for the kind introduction and for inviting me over. It's really an honor, and I'm really excited to share my experiences with everyone here.
Well, where we always like to start is a little bit about your background, about who you are, and what led you to the role you're in.
Sure. So, I have a bachelor's degree. First of all, let me start with my early, a little bit childhood story. So as a kid growing up, I was always this imaginative, inventive person. Or I tried to have this imaginative mindset, you can say. I always used to see the world as a cartoon. That was me. And I was a big video gamer too. I used to play a lot of video games growing up, so I was a big Call of Duty person. I grew around Call of Duty, Halo, Grand Theft Auto. Those are my childhood games. And
Oh, yeah.
and one day, my mom comes up and says to me, "You're always busy playing video games. Why don't you get productive and learn to make a video game? I think it's a good path for you." So, so my ninth grade of high school, I always thought I wanted to be a video game engineer. I always knew what I wanted to do, go into the engineering realm. But I had my own struggles and challenges. So I've had my own autoimmune disorder, which which provided me a learning disability, which made it difficult for me to demonstrate my potential. And I'm a neurodiverse individual who was in the special needs classroom. So I struggled a lot, but I've always stayed resilient and wanted to persevere and pursue my goals and passions. So originally starting at Mercer County Community College, I wanted to major in computer science. So I started as a computer science major, and I really got into coding through my college days. And I used to always attend hackathons, those programming competitions where I would network and build really cool stuff. That was me wanting to bring this imagination out. So one day my original goal was I went with the intent of wanting to make video games for entertainment. I wanted to make the next Call of Duty. That was my initial plan. But then when I took a game design class at my community college, my Professor Rick Giantisco, he actually exposed me into how gaming can be used for a variety of things. And what really intrigued me was in the medical field, how it was used for rehabilitation for stroke paralysis, repairing the connection between the brain to the legs. So it was done by Duke University, known as a Project Walk Again, where they used EEGs, exoskeletons, and the Oculus Rift headset. And this is when Oculus was still new in the early days. So it was really exciting. So this really drew my attention because I was being a medical victim myself. I decided to use innovation and compassion to really make a difference. And so since then, I've been working as a programmer since I was a college student. I work with Drexel University's spin-off startup known as Enable Games, build games for patients with neurological disorders like cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, seizures, and Parkinson's. I worked in the cardiovascular imaging space for a bit too, and then biomechanics with exoskeleton devices. I'm also a 2 times NSF I Corps Award winner. I initially after doing community college, I first did a year at NJIT because I wasn't the best test taker in the world, so I didn't have the grades for Rutgers. I was good on the job, but I was a bad test taker. So that was because also of my disabilities. I really had to prove myself that I wanted to go to Rutgers. So I did a year there, built more work experiences, turned one of my research lab into a startup known as XBoost. And then from there, after getting my grades up, I transferred to Rutgers where I graduated my bachelor's degree in computer science with a concentration track in computer graphics and vision. So graphics and vision are what I love. So, I've worked at a diverse set. I've done work in the medical space. I've done work with NASA. I was an intern with the Johnson Space Center. I've done wargaming simulation. I've also done VR for the educational space. And currently now I'm the co-founder and chief technology officer of Julia Technologies, where we're developing augmented reality overlay displays combined with medical robotics for emergency medicine, specifically for trauma care for the military in rural and austere environments.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. It's interesting though. So when I listen to your story, your career really expands, XR, robotics, healthcare, like the whole gamut. And your success seems to be in identifying unmet needs that maybe other people are missing. So I'm wondering what core principles are guiding your approach to identifying and addressing those unmet needs in all these really rapidly evolving industries.
Yeah, so unmet needs, you really got to search. So don't go for the technology. It's really go for the problem. And sometimes understanding a problem means understanding a domain. So especially the medical field. And this is my experience working with other medical engineers, whether from computer science or mechanical biomedical engineering, is they don't just go by the technical, understand technology. It's also understanding the human physiology. And that's very important in any medical problem you tackle. So understanding that domain and trying to understand the anatomy and the physiology is one thing. The second thing is stakeholder and customer discovery interviews. Speak to those customers that work specifically in this space, understand what challenges it's still facing, so you have a better idea on what you can fill in. Because it's very important. It's not just a technology. Building the technology is really the easy part. It's really knowing the problem and getting it to market.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, and I love that focus on the human that you're helping. We tend to refer to it as being human centered. What I'm curious about, identifying the need, building a solution. One of the big problems is maintaining that alignment between the technology and the person. So as you're
Yes.
kind of building out these solutions, like what do leaders need to be able to do or need to do to ensure that alignment stays as they grow those
Yes.
solutions?
So you have to understand, everybody is not technical. The world is not full of scientists or engineers. It's a diverse world we live in, and that's how it should be. So you got to really understand what current trends are already what people are using, because you want, especially for other human users, you want something that's very simple for them to use. You want to simplify and optimize it. They don't have to put in too much time and effort to figure something out. It should be right there. And
Yep.
that's where speaking to the customers and, doing testing, especially data collection and testing, that's where you're going to know if it actually works or not. Getting your customers to test out your product.
I love that. Again, just keeping the human in the center of everything you do. Now, as these solutions are advancing, you're in defense, in healthcare. Like these are not fast changing industries. So how are you not only finding these unmet needs, building out solutions, but how are you actually overcoming the resistance to adopting something new?
Yeah, so adopting some new technologies, you kind of have to do that every day. If you're working in the field, you have to be up to date with the latest trends. Otherwise, you're not going to be on the job for that long. It's like you have to be. So me specifically, I'm always reading about the latest research going on, always watching the latest videos, latest demos, always trying to follow, oh, this company is doing this startup is doing that. I'm always following with the latest technology leaders, always and trying to stay up to date what's going on. And also I do a lot of courses on Coursera and edX. I try to stay young in the game as possible. So I'm 28 years old, but I still have that energy of a kid inside me. I look at myself as a kid that never grew up. And really, it's that childlike imagination that really keeps me going. I,
And when you're working with other leaders who maybe don't have that same perspective, like how are you helping bring them along for the ride?
yeah, so a lot of those other leaders, I try to understand their approach, but I also want to I guess for their case, I try to see if they have a clarity of direction of where they want to go. Because I'd always try to, those other leaders, I always tell them, if you're going to solve a problem, always talk to the customers and see, because when it comes to solving a problem, you got to know what the customers want, what the people want. It's not just build something cool. Oh, this is cool. This is it. It's going to go out there. It's really knowing what the people want. And especially, I tell them the game of entrepreneurship and startup, it should feel something fun, not pressuring. And when it comes to like leading a company and leading people, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just you have the best talent, the best marketing. You also need the right ambitions and need to do it with the right intent. And that's what I always tell those other leaders. Do with the right intent. Also, it's really the main important thing. This is something I feel people miss a lot when doing a company. It's not the technical skills or the marketing that leads a successful company. It's really the relationships.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I like that idea of understand why you're in the game. Because if you lose sight of that, a lot of things can go wrong.
Yes, you need that intent. You need the right intent to do it with. And most entrepreneurs and leaders I work with, they try to stay young. They try to have that young-like energy.
No, I love that. Now, you mentioned earlier the neurodiversity. And I'm curious, so as a neurodiverse individual, how has that perspective shaped your approach to problem solving? And I think the reason I ask this question is we're a firm believer that diversity of thought and experience leads to better solutions. So I'm really curious from your perspective, how has that helped you?
Well, because I'm being a neurodiverse individual, I was victimized so many times and being a medical victim and being misunderstood and a lot of people not understanding about like what neurodiverse individuals go through. It's really inspired me to spread that awareness. And my perspective is everything should be looked at a multi-centered way. It's all multifactorial. It's not just one way. And especially what's really inspiring because a neurodiverse individual is like, we tend to think a little differently. And one way that's really, really shaped my way is this imagination. I tend to think things that goes a little out of touch with reality, but trying to solve a real problem at the same time. I really had this sci-fi-like imagination and childlike imagination. Like I think really as neurodiverse individuals, we need to see the whole world as kids do. See it from a kid's perspective. End of the day, we are all children in our own ways.
No, I love that. And as a fellow gamer, like I grow up on games, let's be honest, I still game. I haven't given it up. I love that whole approach. And I also feel like what you're also saying is your past became fuel for your future. And the reason I love that is it could have very easily also become the thing that held you back. So when you think about looking at the world in a different way, if you've had a difficult past, you have a choice to make. Either let it fuel your future or let it hold you back. And I love the choice you made.
Yes, and really, I feel for the special needs and neurodiverse population. Like, my goal is really to increase more opportunity and STEM engagement for them. Like, and this has really, really been something that I'm really passionate about. Especially, I think the neurodiverse human psychology needs to be more understood. And what's the best way to bring it them with technology? Because with technology, especially with VR and emerging tech, we can spread so much social awareness, situational awareness, general awareness. There's just so many things we can like bring that people never have thought of or maybe even think about it.
No, I love that. So obviously you've been a successful entrepreneur for a while now. I'm curious, given all the challenges you faced, your navigation of those challenges, what's the advice you would offer to aspiring innovators trying to get started, trying to have their own company?
Yeah. So first of all, I would say do it when you're a student. So don't worry about what it looks to other people. If people say, oh, you need to focus on school, get the grades. No, that's really not true. Well, do your best in school, though. Don't flunk out. Of course, do your best. But it's never too early to start, I would say. The best time to do a company is when you are a student. And people say, oh, you need to get a degree to act like a professional. No, be that initiative taker. Take initiative. Start networking, start seeing what people are doing, start learning, take a course on Coursera, take a class at your college to offer some course. Like, let's say if you're into AI, see if your school offers an AI course, take that intro class and build your foundation, do some side projects and start exploring a problem and Start talking to the right people. See if there's a professor who can help you. Start getting involved in research. Start building your work experiences. Start building your network. So it's really do it when you are a student. Because doing it, it's the best time to do it when you're a student because you're young, you have that energy, you got that drive, and you have that advantage because a lot of it now at times, it's really the younger generation that really does the inspiring, and then it creates even more newer things. So it's really, I would say, be resilient, be open, never stop being curious, explore, look at the problem, and be that initiative taker. You don't have to be somebody who goes to MIT to do it. You just have to be a person who's enthusiastic.
Well, everything you've talked about, you're saying it's never too early to start. I also believe it's never too late to start.
Exactly.
I think one thing you hit on that does become a challenge as you get older is you tend to have more risk associated with making shift, especially if you have a family and things like that.
Yes.
So definitely there's advantages to starting young, but I think for everyone listening, while it's never too early, it's also never too late. You can be a student at any time in your life, and the best people, I feel, never stop being students.
Yes. Like the reality is we are all constant students. We are all constantly learning. We are all constantly evolving. It's really never too late or early to learn. Like I know so many people that are like 60s that are learning to code just now, and they're so proud and happy, and which is great. So if people in their 60s can do it, people at any age can do it.
No, I love this, and I could talk about this forever. Unfortunately, we do have to start wrapping up. Where is the best place for people to connect and collaborate with you?
LinkedIn would be the best way.
Awesome. So reach out to Sanjit on LinkedIn. Sanjit, this has been a fantastic conversation. I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm incredibly grateful to have had you on the show and to benefit from your insights. That said, we do have to wrap up. For everyone else who made it all the way to the end of the episode, thanks for hanging with us. If today's episode brought you value, please consider leaving a like and a review on whatever platform you listen on. And if you know anyone who is looking for some inspiration in terms of innovation in the industry or even some collaboration, share this episode with them, connect them to Sanjit. And lastly, remember to take one actionable insight from today, apply it, and let us know how it goes because we'd love to hear about your progress. Sanjit, thanks again, and thanks to everyone who's still with us. We'll see you all next time on Breakthrough Innovation.
Thank you.